So if you wait and if you delay 2 months in making a decision on whether or not you're going to hunt the right patterns and pull the right levers, well, that could very well be your kiss of death to your business. So we've got to have speed of implementation for the things that we find.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How the process works, how the application works in details. What's the process?
Yeah, in some of the details, and again, app.ownyourrevenue.com, app.ownyourrevenue.com, you'll be able to see there's kind of a menu structure and you'll be able to go through and see it. But initially, as mentioned, you asked me first question was, what are the 5-step formula? And the very first thing you have to understand is, what problem do you solve that no one else does? How many times have you worked with a CPA? CPAs all primarily do the same thing, but what problem are you solving as if you're a CPA, what are you solving? If you're a manufacturing facility, what are you solving? If you're a home services company, what are you solving that no one else is? It might be regional. It might be, according to your geography. So you might have a very special niche according to the geography. Other people do it, but nobody does it in your backyard. There might be, whatever the case is, you have to be very, very clear about this. There's a gentleman, Kevin O'Leary, maybe you've heard of him, Shark Tank, right? And I have a phrase that I've always used, and then I heard Kevin say this phrase, but my phrase is clarity is power. And the more clear you are, the more power you're going to have in communication, in ability to execute and solve problems on behalf of other people. Kevin O'Leary, his phrase is, clarity is capital. And capital, whether that's investment capital, whether it's customers, businesses investing in you, buying your products, buying your services, that capital, that money, that revenue is going to come to you the more clear you are. And that's coming from a person who has invested in, who knows how many startups and ventures and things like that. His comment when he talked about that, he says, I am looking for the person that is clear about where they're going, about the problem that they solve. I don't care about their history. I don't care about, even the product may even not be as good. But if they're clear, there's power in there. Therefore, I'm willing to invest in that person and be able to move from there. So that's kind of clarity number one, is being able to know that. Because if you can't answer it, that question, what problem do you solve that no one else does? That's also known as, hey, what do you do? When someone comes to you and says, hey, what do you do? What they're really asking is, what problem can you help me solve? And if you can't answer that inside of 10, 15 seconds without going through a laundry list of all the things you do, then you're not clear enough. So that's kind of the beginning. Second, customer roadmap. Many people have heard these buzzwords, but very few have actually written it down. I have another phrase. If it's not written down, it's a liability. If it is written down, it's an asset. We all know inherently, especially entrepreneurs, we love assets. We don't like liabilities. That is pretty straight, pretty forward. So let's build assets. Put together a customer roadmap. Every customer you have will travel through 6 different destinations. Very first one, how does a customer find or interact with you? Regardless of what business you're in, they're going to find or interact with you some way. You might use websites, you might use podcasts, kind of like what you're doing. You might use ads, you might use, whatever it is, they're going to come to you and find you in a certain way. Second, how do they hire? How do they decide to hire? Okay, you're the right fit. Now I'm going to hire. What do you do to help them with that? Third, how does the customer become a customer? If you're in the construction, we were sitting here talking about my gold mine, years of red tape, paperwork, regulation this, regulation that, and it came to fruition. And that was after years. That takes a lot of time. If you're going to go on Amazon and buy a book, you can be done inside 60 seconds. So it varies depending on your. Fourth, how does the product or purchase get fulfilled? This is where your operations heavy. How are you fulfilling the purchase that the client has bought from you, whether it's a service, whether it's a product? Fifth, how does it get delivered? Sixth, how does that customer return for more? How do they come back to you for more? How do they help others come to you? Being very, very clear and being able to pull this out. All of that I've right now is actually free in the trial in our app. So it's laid out in a very coherent way. There's numbers and percentages and levels and accountability stuff that you'll fill in that will then give you actually more statistics even about your own business. So we've developed it in a way to allow businesses to see more clearly their own business internally, to start finding those revenue patterns. Beyond that, you're now diving even for into the. That's the beginning. Once you get into it, I spoke briefly about PEPSLIM. There's a whole series of questions that we go through to categorize, if you will, the patterns that exist in your business, and we categorize them in the PEPSLIM, that acronym: people, equipment, process, strategy, leadership, inventory, money. We're able to categorize them. We're able to, you're seeing more clarity about your business. Beyond that, there's several things we do internally for the individuals themselves, individual enhancement. I cannot help a business without helping the individual. The individual has to elevate themselves. They have to be more controlled of their time. They've got to be more disciplined in things. They've got to have a certain mindset in order to elevate. Otherwise, it's just going to be more chaos. We can provide tools, give you more things, but if you're not in the mindset as the leader to be able to get there, it's just never going to happen. Or if it does, it's going to follow. Do get there. And so there's a whole bunch of stuff that we go through to help develop the individual as well as the business, and really build that culture of accountability within that of a revenue mindset within your entire team.
Ryan, building the applications has to be a lot of tech. We have to pay a lot of money in terms of develop technology. But now with the use of AI, did you use AI in order to help you to develop the technology, or you use all the hard code?
So you're kind of asking, what did I use myself to be able to build this, right? And absolutely 100%. I had to be educated in the skill of automation and AI building and things of that nature. So yes, I have been on a very steep incline curve myself because mechanical engineering principles don't apply to AI per se, and neither does all the business experience I have. So I've had to learn skills myself. I have become more knowledgeable in tools like N8N and GitHub and these types of things. So one of the things that I did to answer your question is I started a while ago just recording, right? Having AI record my Zoom meetings and things of that nature. So I'd have various conversations, different people, different topics, all this stuff, and it would record these. And it was nice to have, hey, here's a short list of your to-dos, here's summary items. But very rarely did I go back to that meeting and go to, hey, minute number 42. I want to see what I said for the I just never have the time. So what I did here actually at the end of last year is I went through that kind of database of Zoom meeting recordings that I've had with all different kinds and walks of people. And there were over 600 meetings. 600 meetings. And about that, you got 600 plus hours of stuff almost. And buried in there are so many things that I talked about in counsel that I'd given, counsel that was shared with me, ways to do this, ways to do that. So that was actually the very first place I started, is pulling that together, and I started creating, right now I call him Rybot, but he's basically the AI guru that's going to be embedded in my Own Your Revenue app. So we are building that right now. So that's still to come. And we're going to put him in there so that he 24/7 can help individuals articulate their patterns as they're hunting for those patterns. And even beyond that, we can say, well, based on pattern X, pattern Y, pattern Z that we recognized, you're having these conversations, your team leader this, your general manager said this, your VP of operations said this, your CFO said this. Out of these conversations that your company is having, we're seeing this pattern. Hey, let's develop an app. Let's develop the automation. Let's put together the AI. What does your tech stack look like? So in the process of Own Your Revenue, you're sharing these things, you're building these things so it's visible. And as it's visible, we can see it and we can make the recommendations for realization. Because I can go into a business and I can identify on a small solopreneur, I can identify $1.5 million pretty easy. On one business I have they're doing it in a year. We went through our first hunt, and our first hunt revealed $20 million in patterns that they were missing out on. 20 million, half, 50% of last year's revenue. And okay, that's nice. Very hard to do. They've never done it. They'd been in business for 25 years. They'd never done anything like that. Extremely happy. Everyone was happy about it. But now what? How do we realize that? How do we clawing that back? Because even if we're making a lot of money, if our margin is just not there, our business isn't good. Our blood isn't healthy. Revenue is the blood of a business. And so our blood has to be healthy. It's got to be flowing well. So that is our margin. And if we're not taking care of our margin, then it's bad blood for the business, and you're just working a job at the end of the day. So to your point, absolutely, we've utilized this tech and being able to build this so that multiple businesses. So we've started with this trial. From that trial, we are offering a DIY, do it yourself. So those individuals that maybe they're a little cash strapped, maybe they don't want to enter into a premium consulting and have me or one of my coaches on your board, if you will, for the next year to help you actually execute that growth. If you're not in that position, hey, you can still follow the process. You can still go through and reap the rewards, but we're building the tech behind it between all of these meetings and all of these brains and everything that can be able to support to help you with that. Because at the end of the day, it's all about speed. We can find these things. We know we can. Great. I can find 7+ figures in a business within about 3 weeks of working with them, if not less. I can do that. I know I've done it. But if we don't realize it, then why are we here? If we don't actually start bringing in what we've identified and the patterns that we've hunted, then it's all for naught. So speed critical. You mentioned 2 years as a threshold for small businesses. That's 24 months. So if you wait and if you delay 2 months in making a decision on whether or not you're going to hunt the right patterns and pull the right levers, well, that could very well be your kiss of death to your business. So we've got to have speed of implementation for the things that we find.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.